To understand how the Amish stay healthy without modern medicine, we first need to grasp their worldview. For the Amish, health is not something handed over to doctors, pills, or insurance systems. It is seen as a natural outcome of how you live each day. Their lifestyle emphasizes physical work, plain food, spiritual peace, and community support, creating an environment where health is maintained through prevention rather than cure. Unlike modern society, which often waits until illness appears before taking action, the Amish put their energy into daily habits that strengthen the body and spirit before sickness ever has a chance to strike. They live close to the land, eating food they grow themselves, breathing fresh rural air, and moving their bodies constantly through farm labor and household tasks. This simple rhythm of life builds a foundation of strength, especially in the elderly, who continue working, walking, and remaining active long into their senior years. Equally important is their attitude toward stress. Modern life is filled with constant noise, digital overstimulation, and financial anxieties, all of which contribute to chronic illnesses. The Amish, by contrast, live slower lives centered around faith and family. Their trust in God provides them with a sense of peace and purpose, which reduces the kind of stress that silently destroys health in the outside world. The Amish also believe deeply in self-responsibility. If you are sick, you first ask, "What did I do that weakened me? Did I neglect sleep, overeat, or fail to dress properly in the cold?" This inward reflection guides them toward correcting habits rather than depending on external fixes. Their elders remind the younger generations that maintaining health is part of honoring the body as God's creation. By starting with prevention, fresh food, daily movement, faith, and self-awareness, the Amish set themselves apart from the modern cycle of sickness and medication. In their eyes, health is not a service you buy, but a way of life you practice. Amish diet, natural foods as daily medicine. One of the most powerful reasons the Amish remain healthy without relying on modern medicine lies in what they eat. For them, food is not just fuel. It is daily medicine provided by the land, prepared with care, and consumed in balance. Their diet is radically different from the processed, chemical-laden meals most of the modern world consumes, and this difference shows in their overall vitality, especially among the elderly. Homegrown nutrition. Amish families grow the majority of their own food. Their gardens are filled with vegetables like potatoes, carrots, cabbages, beans, and corn, while orchards supply apples, pears, and peaches. Chickens provide eggs, cows give fresh milk, and hogs or cattle are butchered for meat. Every ingredient is fresh, seasonal, and organic by default, free from pesticides, preservatives, or artificial additives. This kind of unprocessed diet provides nutrients in their purest form. For example, instead of relying on vitamin supplements, Amish elders get calcium from raw milk, iron from garden-grown greens, and healthy fats from butter and lard. These natural sources are more easily absorbed by the body than synthetic pills, strengthening bones, muscles, and immunity in a way modern shortcuts cannot match. Traditional food preservation. Another factor in their health is how they preserve food. As we discussed in Amish preservation methods, salting, smoking, canning, and drying allow them to store harvests without chemicals. Unlike supermarket shelves lined with heavily processed packaged meals, Amish pantries are filled with jars of home-canned vegetables, smoked meats, dried fruits, and natural sweeteners like honey and maple syrup. This ensures year-round access to wholesome food, reducing reliance on unhealthy modern substitutes. The role of balance. The Amish diet is also rooted in balance. While they do consume hearty foods like bread, potatoes, and meat, these are balanced with high levels of physical labor that burn off calories. Unlike sedentary modern lifestyles where processed carbs turn into weight gain, the Amish turn their meals into energy for plowing fields, hauling wood, or cycling down rural roads. Their diet works hand in hand with their daily movement, spiritual and social nourishment. Meals are not rushed affairs eaten in isolation. They are taken together at the family table, often preceded by prayer. This sense of gratitude for food and the joy of sharing it reduces stress and increases contentment, both of which play vital roles in digestion and overall health. Elder Amish often remind younger ones, "Food is from God's hand. Treat it with respect." This attitude creates mindfulness around eating that the modern world has lost. Why it matters for health. By relying on natural, homegrown, and preserved foods, the Amish avoid many of the health crises caused by processed diets: obesity, diabetes, heart disease, and vitamin deficiencies. Their elderly continue to thrive because their bodies have been nourished for decades by real food, not artificial replacements. For those outside the Amish world, the lesson is clear. Returning to simple, whole, home-prepared foods is perhaps the most important step toward lasting health. Daily physical labor, the Amish exercise program for lifelong strength. If modern society spends billions on gyms, trainers, and fitness apps, the Amish have something far simpler: daily work. To them, physical activity is not a scheduled event, but a natural rhythm of life. Every chore, every task, every mile walked becomes part of what could only be described as their lifelong exercise program. This constant movement builds endurance, keeps weight under control, strengthens muscles, and preserves mobility well into old age. Work as wellness. From dawn to dusk, Amish life is physically demanding. Men rise early to milk cows, split wood, plow fields, or repair barns. Women manage heavy household chores, knead dough, churn butter, pump water, and wash laundry without modern machines. Children walk or bike miles to school, help in the garden, and carry water or firewood. Nothing in Amish life is sedentary. This unbroken chain of daily effort ensures that even elderly Amish remain active and functional, not confined to chairs or dependent on mobility aids until very late in life. The impact on elderly health. Amish elders often remain stronger and more mobile than their modern counterparts because they never retire from movement. A 75-year-old Amish grandfather may still chop firewood or guide a plow, while a grandmother continues gardening, sewing, and canning. Their bodies stay flexible and conditioned because they have never stopped using them. In fact, studies on Amish communities show lower rates of obesity and lifestyle diseases compared to the general population, largely due to this consistent physical activity. Natural movement versus artificial exercise. What makes Amish labor so effective is its functional nature. Instead of lifting weights for appearance, they lift hay bales to feed livestock. Instead of running on treadmills, they walk miles on dirt paths and cycle to markets. Instead of doing repetitive gym exercises, they use a wide range of muscles in daily chores, which prevents stiffness and maintains real-world strength. Their health comes from purposeful movement, not isolated exercise routines. Mind-body connection. There is also a mental health benefit. Physical labor is tied to purpose and meaning. An Amish man chopping wood knows it will heat his family's home. A woman carrying baskets of laundry knows she is providing comfort for her children. This link between work and care fosters contentment, unlike modern exercise routines often done out of vanity or compulsion. The Amish approach shows that meaningful labor not only strengthens the body, but also nourishes the spirit. A lesson for modern life. For those seeking Amish-style health, the lesson is not necessarily to abandon modern jobs, but to reintroduce functional movement into daily life. Walking instead of driving short distances, gardening for food, cycling instead of using a car, cooking from scratch, or engaging in manual hobbies. By living more actively in everyday tasks, the body naturally stays strong, just as it does for the Amish. Herbal remedies and natural healing practices. Amish medicine from the earth. While the Amish do make use of hospitals when absolutely necessary, much of their day-to-day health care is handled through herbal remedies, poultices, teas, and natural treatments passed down from generation to generation. Instead of reaching for pills or synthetic drugs, they reach for what the garden, field, or forest can provide. This knowledge is especially cherished among the elderly, who often serve as the community's healers, teaching younger families the old ways of treating common illnesses. The Amish herbal tradition. Herbs play a central role in Amish healing. Chamomile is used to calm the stomach and help with sleep. Peppermint tea eases digestion and relieves headaches. Echinacea boosts the immune system and is used against colds and infections. Comfrey leaves are applied externally to speed wound healing, while elderberries are turned into syrups to fight flu and build immunity. These remedies are not seen as alternative medicine but as the first line of defense. Only if a condition becomes too serious will the Amish consider modern doctors. By trusting in herbs first, they minimize exposure to side effects from drugs and maintain control over their own health care. Poultices and external remedies. The Amish also rely on poultices, moist herbal pastes applied directly to the skin. Mustard poultices are used for chest congestion, drawing out phlegm and easing breathing. Onion poultices are placed on the soles of the feet to reduce fever in children. Plantain leaves are crushed and applied to insect bites or small cuts to reduce swelling and infection. These practices may seem old-fashioned, but they are effective and rooted in centuries of folk knowledge. Healing as faith and responsibility. For the Amish, using herbal remedies is not simply about physical health, but also about living in harmony with God's creation. They believe the earth provides everything necessary for survival if used wisely. Relying on natural medicine also teaches responsibility. Families must learn, grow, and prepare these remedies themselves rather than depending on outside systems. Community support and elderly care. Healing through togetherness. One of the greatest secrets behind Amish health, especially among the elderly, is not just what they eat or what remedies they use, but the strength of their community. In Amish culture, no person is ever truly alone, and this togetherness plays a powerful role in keeping people physically, mentally, and emotionally well without relying on modern medicine. The role of the family. In Amish households, 3 or even 4 generations often live under one roof or on the same property. Elderly parents are not sent to nursing homes. Instead, they remain with their children and grandchildren, continuing to contribute to the household. Even if they cannot work as hard as they once did, their presence is valued, whether in teaching, advising, or simply being part of daily life. This constant interaction prevents the loneliness and isolation that plague many elderly people in modern society. And we know that loneliness itself is a silent killer, contributing to depression, weakened immunity, and even heart problems. Care without institutions. Because Amish communities avoid health insurance and nursing homes, they have developed strong networks of mutual aid. When someone falls ill, neighbors arrive with food, help with farm chores, or contribute financially to medical bills if outside treatment is required. This reduces stress for the sick and allows healing to take place in a loving, supportive environment. Stress relief alone plays a massive role in recovery and long-term well-being. Work as therapy. Amish elders are rarely idle. Even if their physical abilities diminish, they are given roles suited to their strength: shelling peas, sewing, reading to children, or guiding younger workers. This sense of purpose keeps them mentally alert and emotionally fulfilled. Unlike modern retirement culture, which often strips elders of meaningful roles, Amish elders continue to feel necessary and connected, which directly supports their overall health. Emotional and spiritual healing. The Amish also believe in the healing power of community prayer. When someone is sick, entire families and church groups pray together, visiting the ill to provide comfort. This shared faith reinforces a sense of hope and reduces anxiety, which modern science now acknowledges as essential for recovery. The elderly, in particular, feel deeply reassured knowing they are surrounded by prayerful care rather than facing illness alone. A life without stress of modern systems. Because they live outside of the insurance and hospital-driven healthcare system, the Amish avoid many of the financial stresses that burden modern patients. While they still pay for certain medical treatments, they do so through community funds rather than loans or debt. This financial freedom removes an enormous source of stress, allowing recovery to focus purely on health, not bills. Faith, prayer, and mental peace, the spiritual foundation of Amish health. Perhaps the most overlooked aspect of Amish health is their spiritual foundation. While diet, work, and herbal remedies strengthen the body, it is faith and mental peace that sustain the spirit, and the spirit in turn sustains the body. The Amish live by a principle that modern medicine often ignores. Health is not only physical, but also emotional and spiritual. Stress, sickness, and the modern world. Modern science has shown that chronic stress contributes to nearly every major illness: heart disease, diabetes, anxiety, depression, and even autoimmune disorders. In the outside world, people are constantly bombarded with screens, deadlines, financial worries, and noise. This constant stress weakens the immune system, making sickness more frequent and recovery slower. The Amish, however, are largely shielded from these pressures. Their days follow predictable rhythms tied to sunrise, farm work, meals, and family gatherings. Without phones buzzing or TVs blaring bad news, their minds remain calmer. This simplicity is not an accident. It is a deliberate choice rooted in their faith. Prayer as medicine. For the Amish, prayer is not just ritual. It is a daily act of healing. They begin meals, end the day, and face every trial with prayer. When someone is ill, families gather around them, laying hands and praying with trust that God will provide strength, comfort, and, if it is His will, healing. Even when healing does not come, prayer gives the sick peace, removing fear and despair that often worsen illness. This trust in God reduces anxiety and promotes what doctors today call a healing mindset. A calm spirit encourages better sleep, steadier blood pressure, and a stronger immune response. Many elderly Amish attribute their long lives to the peace they feel from living daily in God's will, unburdened by the chaos of the outside world. Forgiveness and emotional well-being. The Amish also emphasize forgiveness and humility as a form of spiritual health. Resentment, anger, and bitterness are seen as toxic to both soul and body. By practicing forgiveness, even in difficult situations, they release emotional burdens that in modern life often translate into physical sickness. This emotional freedom contributes to lower rates of mental illness within Amish communities, especially among the elderly, who live with gratitude and peace rather than regret. Faith and elderly resilience. Amish elders, in particular, embody this faith-centered approach to health. Even when faced with pain or illness, they accept it with dignity, often saying phrases like, "It is God's will," or "This too shall pass." Their resilience comes not from denying suffering, but from trusting that suffering has meaning within God's plan. This mindset gives them remarkable emotional strength, allowing them to endure hardships without the despair that often cripples elderly health in modern settings. Avoiding modern vices. How simplicity protects Amish health. Another key to Amish health lies in what they avoid, not just what they do. Their way of life shields them from many of the habits and vices that undermine modern health. Where the outside world struggles with addictions, pollution, and overstimulation, the Amish remain protected through discipline, simplicity, and the boundaries set by their community. No dependence on processed addictions. Modern society is filled with processed foods, sugary drinks, caffeine dependency, alcohol abuse, and even drug addictions. These habits lead to obesity, heart disease, liver failure, and countless mental health struggles. The Amish, by contrast, avoid nearly all of these. They rarely drink alcohol, they do not smoke, and their access to processed junk food is limited. Instead of soda and energy drinks, they rely on water, milk, herbal teas, or homemade juices. By avoiding these addictive substances, they protect their bodies from slow but devastating damage. Freedom from technology, stress. Screens dominate modern life, leading to poor sleep, eye strain, mental exhaustion, and sedentary behavior. The Amish, who reject televisions, smartphones, and social media, avoid this constant overstimulation. Their evenings are quiet, lit by lanterns or lamps, allowing for natural rest. Their mornings begin early without alarms or late-night scrolling. This absence of technological dependency provides deeper rest, sharper focus, and lower anxiety, all of which are essential for long-term health. Clean air and environment. Living in rural farmlands means the Amish breathe cleaner air, drink unpolluted water, and avoid the noise and toxins of industrial environments. While they are not entirely free from modern pollutants, their daily exposure is dramatically lower than that of city dwellers. This cleaner environment translates to stronger lungs, fewer respiratory diseases, and better overall immunity, particularly among the elderly who spend much of their lives outdoors. Amish rules, known as the Ordnung, create natural boundaries that protect health. They discourage overindulgence, waste, and vanity-driven habits. Elders often remind the young that moderation in all things is part of living righteously. This cultural discipline acts as a natural safeguard against many of the lifestyle-related diseases that plague modern society. From the Amish, we can take away profound truths about staying healthy without modern medicine. Health begins with prevention through diet, work, and natural remedies. Community and family are as essential as any medicine. Faith and peace of mind are powerful healers in themselves. Avoiding harmful modern vices is just as important as practicing good habits. Elders thrive when given purpose, respect, and connection, not when pushed aside. The Amish way of health challenges the modern world to reconsider what it means to truly live well. While technology and medicine are valuable, they are not substitutes for purposeful living, spiritual grounding, and community care. The Amish remind us that health is not bought in a pill bottle, but built day by day through how we live, think, and love.